I got started a minute early here, so I'll use this time to talk about what I want to talk about. I saw this watch, and the watch was advertised as a 1920 um, Vacheron Constantin, and I took a look at it, and the first thing I noticed was that uh, the way Vacheron Constantin was written out wasn't right. Hey, Mark. Hi, Brian. How you doing? Audio and video working. Good. Thank you very much. Let me see. I'll add a little more light. There we go. Have a little more there. Hi, Ben. Anyway, that's what I thought would be sort of an interesting thing. There's probably a name for them, marriage watches or something, but they're not exactly marriage watches. What this guy is doing, apparently they're buying these old pocket watches, and primarily for the movement. And this particular one bought a Vacheron Constantin pocket watch, and put a hang on a second, let me bring it up here. Okie doke. Hang on, let me see if I can do this. Got a window. Okay. Sure. Boom. There we go. Now this one right here is the one I'm talking about. The guy is selling. Let me see if I can. No, I can't. See if that helps. In fact, maybe if I move it all the way over here. No, I guess not. Okay. Anyway, you can see the logo. The Vacheron Constantin logo is a Maltese cross, and what they have up there isn't much. It looks like somebody just sort of put it in very quickly. The other thing about the dial, if you look at the dial, you have the small seconds over at 9 o'clock. Now, you can see at 3 o'clock is the crown, is where you'd expect it. But if you turn it like this, that a pocket watch would have, you'll see that the small seconds are at 6 o'clock. And that would be more typical of Vacheron Constantin. The other thing about it is that this one is supposed to be from the 1920s, and until about, I think it was 1974, Vacheron Constantin was Vacheron and Constantin. They either had an ampersand or they had et. So it would say Vacheron et Constantin or Vacheron ampersand Constantin, but they wouldn't have what's in that in that particular dial. And the dial itself is okay. The hands are. I tell you the truth, I didn't really look at the in terms of how the hands would line up with a wristwatch from Vacheron Constantin at that period. I think there's some version. There's sort of almost a serif version of the Breguet styled watches. But anyway, so it was $5,500, and when I see $5,500 for a Vacheron Constantin, it gets my attention. But then I read about it, and these guys they're doing something very interesting. They're advertising it as a Vacheron Constantin, so people look at it, and then they say, well, and then we'll make it for you. Basically, what they're saying is that we're taking a pocket watch from Vacheron Constantin, and we're fixing it up and making it into a wristwatch. And so I don't know. I thought, well, this is sort of an interesting kind of thing. It's but by the way, this I found on eBay. They're not really fibbing about it. Their presentation is sort of interesting. So anyway, I thought, well, what do you guys think about this, and whether or not it's something that would be worth taking a look at? And I thought, well, yeah, this would be worth taking a look at, I think. Okay. Um, Hi, James, Dominic. Good to see you. Fernando. Um, John. Hi, John. How you guys doing? Anyway, so now here's the other part of the formula is, let me bring something else up here. This one. Share. Okay, now here's the movement. And what's sort of interesting, you can see right here the ampersand of Vacheron and Constantin. And it's really a nice looking movement. And it looks to be, at least from looking at the gear teeth and everything else, it looks to be in pretty good shape. So it's sort of like, well, they do sort of tell you, but on the other hand, what's going on with this? Is this, how do you guys, what do you think of this kind of thing? 5,500 for a Vacheron Content 10 is generally pretty good. You can probably find an older OS one for around that much, or for some other things. But I'm sort of, my own thought behind it is, if you're going to advertise something that's from the 1920s, at least you could do is get your Vacheron Constantin or Vacheron and Constantin right, because otherwise you sort of like, you see it and say, wait a minute, anybody who's a watch collector is going to know that there's something sort of funny going on there. Okay, hey, John from Texas, how you doing? Truman, good to see you. Michael, it's like Porsche reimagined by Singer. Not exactly. Okay, I tell you, I wouldn't mind having a reimagined Porsche from Singer at all. I see your point though, Michael. Dominic, it's almost okay. It would be nicer if the correct details, like you mentioned, yeah, that was, you get some chingered up old dial from Vacheron Constantin, and then you sort of tried to have it as accurate as possible. Maybe have something to make it a little more interesting with perhaps an enamel dial or something like that. I have no idea what a sort of 20s era Vacheron Constantin pocket watch would cost. I imagine they're not terribly expensive. And then these guys, the way they're doing it is they're selling it before the watch is actually done, in the sense that to fix the thing up so that it looks good. And looking at the dial, it's sort of like, AliExpress. Is that where they picked up that dial from? I don't know. I guess I agree with Dominic on that. If you're going to do it right, for crying out loud. Sort of advertise it as a, I don't know what. What are some more thoughts on that? I like the movement so much that I think I'll suffer a lot for that. Also, too, you know that in the original uh, in the original movement or the original pocket watch, they didn't have exhibition backs to them. They were probably very solid backs. Now, I think there is a little bit of iffiness around the advertising that as a 1920 Vacheron Content 10. It's sort of that. Hey, Damon, how you doing? They're converting Patek pocket watches as well. Yeah, I'm not surprised. They're because the pocket watches you can get, gold ones. You can get all kinds of ones. I got one with the idea. What I did, I got a key wound. I really wanted to have a key wound, and so I got a. I don't even remember what the brand was, but I got a key wound pocket watch, and then I got a case for it and everything was doing fine until I broke it. So I messed up the movement. The movement was working fine, and I screwed it up. So. I'll have to get another one and give it another try. I really like the idea of having a watch with a wind-up key, and so you don't have the keyless works to mess with in a watch. Richard, hi. Uh, for that amount, would get a real pocket watch and even precious metal one's reasonable. Yeah, it's sort of like one of the things dials and hands often will go. I mean, if they get any kind of moisture or all kinds of ways that they become corroded and crummy looking, whereas the movement can still be in great shape. And I think, on the other hand, if you're going to show some real skill on this, you could take it, redo the dial to the original one so it looks like the original one brand new. That I think would be something rather than what they've done is sort of, you know, meh, not $5,500. That's for sure. Yeah, there are a lot of possibilities, I think, with some of these old pocket watches. The nice thing about it, and this is a thing that what's his name, Roger Smith mentioned. He said, you can find these old watches, hundreds of years old, and they're still working just fine. This, he said, in relationship to the silicone hairsprings. He said, we have no idea how long they're going to last before something happens and they go away. I won't go off on my tirade on silicone, but that I thought was sort of an interesting observation that Smith made about that. So they're in a way, okay, in a very small way, for those of us who are pretentious watchmakers like myself, I think sort of if you get something like that, you sort of become a restorer, maybe. Brian, I'm not looking for an answer, but I have to wonder how many people have purchased these and others like them. Yeah, that's not a bad question at all. Here's what I don't know. I wonder whether they look at it as, oh boy, I'm getting a restored Vacheron Content 10, which is sort of true. But the restoration seems to be simply getting sort of turning the case 45 degrees, and now you have a small seconds at 9 o'clock instead of at 6 o'clock. And then you slap on another dial and a couple hands. The hands didn't look too. I mean, they just sort of look, like I said, AliExpress kind of hands. Dominic, there is a handful of watch manufacturers that are encasing pocket watches and leaving the stem and crown at 12 o'clock with display backs and water-resistant cases. Yeah, that's to me. I don't mind them turning them so that it's at 3 o'clock. I think on my hang on a second. Get it. There we go. Boy, I messed up my ankle somehow, and I've been limping around. Here is basically what a pocket watch with a bar lug at the bottom and a bow and crown at the top. And so here you have your 12 o'clock crown. Simply turn it this way, and now well, I guess on the screen it looked like this would look more like 9 o'clock over here, but that's essentially what's going on. And I don't know. I think Dominic is right. I mean, if you could take a really good movement like that, because I love the looks of that movement. Look at this thing. It's a that movement with the main bridge going across here. It looks like it encompasses most of the wheel train in a single bridge. And then here you have a finger bridge, and then some other sort of the balance cock looks like a couple again very thin ones, and you have look at the nice big balance wheel you have. So now this movement. Oh boy, this is a nice movement. Something I wouldn't mind. That I like a lot, and I wonder whether I don't know whether that would be the way to go with it. Try to find one of those old ones and restore it. Either that, or just take it and make a totally different watch without any kind of pretense for it being a Vacheron Constantin, but rather a watch with a Vacheron Constantin movement. Who knows? I'm just a pretentious collector. Well, that's even better. You have to work your way up from a pretentious watchmaker, Truman. Michael, looks gorgeous in the back. Just flip the strap the other way and look at the back all day. Yeah. No, I could. I like looking at the back too. Except the focus they have on the new one. Of course, this is the back of the one on the Constantin on the Vacheron Constantin looks a lot better than this one, because this has got these giant plates that hides most of everything. That's the only downside on that one. Okay. All right. I just thought that would be something. Other thoughts that you have about watches today? And looking at that movement, how would you compare movements, Brian? I'm sure there are others, but Roland Murphy here in the U.S. Uses Hamilton pocket watch movements in several of his. Yeah, he does. The thing about Roland Murphy is that he sort of wants to brings back like a certain Americana in his. I really like his Corps of Engineering watches, both the ones with, I think some of them have ETA and some of them have, they may be Hamiltons or some other kind of movement like that. But his stuff is, his is very unique. Probably, I guess, if we have, because Hamilton originally and a lot of these other ones were American manufactured watches, but They were all bought by the Swiss one time. Damon, most of the conversions are large diameter wristwatches. Yeah. Well, that's the I think what they do if you're gonna convert a this is pretty much it. I think this is about 42 millimeters or something like that. But this was one that was done from scratch, the 1930, to be sort of to look like one, but not being one. It's sort of funny. It's a lot of irony in that. I had one built from a Gruen anniversary pocket watch, solid gold engraved movement as a gift for my son. Wow, that is a cool thing. Yeah, that would be yeah, that would be a heck of a thing. I wonder, if there's something that seems to be a little schlocky about the ones on that they have out there for the uh, this one. And by schlocky, I mean it's sort of like more of a more of like a quick buck kind of thing than it is like, we're going to really add something interesting to horology instead of, but rather it's just sort of like, well, here we got this movement that is sort of okay. It doesn't look awful. The color is okay. I don't even know what the whether that case is from the original one or not. But it's just like, come on, at least you can put the ampersand or the et between the Vestron and Constantin, and but it was, you know, something that doesn't. I don't know, just not. It's not a bad thing. In fact, after you look at it for 2 seconds, you can pretty well tell that it's not an act. The dial at least isn't a Vestron Constantin from the 1920s. The dial itself looks brand new, which it is, and this is, I guess, these guys redial them somehow. But um, hmm. Yeah, Dominic, let's see. I had one built. Oh, yeah, for your anniversary. That's a cool thing to do. Hey, John, after following your teaching and creating my first watch build, I want to take one of my dad's small diameter pocket watches and try another one. That is a good idea. Um, all of my brother has all of my dad's watches, and they were like an old Bulova and something like that. But I think with like grandfather's pocket watches or some things like that, thing is a neat thing to do with it. Yeah, there is an in-house caliber. You're right. On the there's they. It seems that he does a couple different things. Like he'll have the same like core of engineering. One of them has like an ETA or something in it, and the other one is in-house that he has developed himself. Truman, I didn't get the chance to acquire the VC triple calendar before they discontinued it. Maybe on the secondary market. Oh, definitely. Yeah. I saw one from a place that, likes to sell things at full price. And they had one for about $4,000 under the list price. I think the list price was like 24,000 something for the. But I think if you look around, you can find some pretty good buys on that watch. This is the Vacheron Constantin triple calendar. I like that watch. The one I especially like is that they had Originally, they had a red and blue, sort of not the whole dial, but the fonts and things on the dial were either red or blue, and they dropped the red one. So you can still find them out there. If you go out and look, you can find some red dial ones if you like. I sort of like that. There's so many that I'd like to have, but the only thing is that I'm not very good about updating the dates. You know, I don't. I'm not really into having date watches, but the ones I have, I feel guilty if I have the wrong date, and then you got to be sure that you got AM instead of PM or vice versa. So I'm not much of a date watch guy. With a triple calendar, I'd probably go mad. I was thinking of purchasing a Balm and Mercier. Yeah, Balm and Mercier, they have their they have what they call in-house, and that's that Valfleury, what's it called, Balmatic automatic movement. The other ones in it, Balm and Mercier, I think one of them, I think, could be wrong, have one of the Jacquet 736s. They're rectangular shaped one. Uh, I sort of keep track of them. I don't know why, but there's something about that movement I like. Vortec watch. Okay, Dom. There's a dual watchmaker from Finland taking old Omega movements at 266 and refinishing them for watches, dials, and case. Oh, that's cool. That's I tell you, that is one thing I'm very much for, especially with Omegas before they started stuffing those silicon hairsprings in them. Is that where you had a real horological, genuine watchmaker's watch? Oh, okay. I don't know what a BM13. See, this is the problem. This is one thing I don't like is when companies start using these phony baloney names that make it look like it's in-house. If you have a Bowman Mercier and they have the name of the movement is BM, but it's a Salida, then that's not right. I had to put my triple calendar on a watch winder. Yeah, that's that's what I do once every now and then. I'll reset my moon phase, and then I got to put it on a winder after going through all of that. I've got my I think tomorrow night is a new moon, which means you have nothing but stars on your moon phase. So I'll set that tomorrow night or tomorrow during the day sometime, and so that I'll be sort of caught up again. You're right, though. You got to put them in a winder to keep them. I do that with my dual times too, dual time automatics. I don't know. I like the kind of stuff that who people I consider to be real watchmakers, like Roland Murphy, or somebody like that who takes a sort of I don't know, you call it sort of a historical movement and making a really interesting watch from it. The guy in Finland is another example of what they might be doing. Hi, Von Krul, how you doing? Brian, did you get a Vestron Constantin triple calendar? That is a nice. I like that watch, but like I said, I don't know if I could keep up with a triple calendar. I That's one thing is that as soon as I get some watch money, I'm broke watch money wise. As soon as I get one, I get enough to buy a watch. There's so many different watches that I'm looking at right now. that, and I keep finding more. And then I change my mind, and then I see some more. It just, but not having any money is sort of helpful because it gives you a lot of time to really consider the options. And my options often comes down to a really good watch and will I wear it or not. One of the things about my Lyrique is it's easy to tell time at a glance. I love wearing it. And so it's the kind of watch I want to have, like all of my collection should be watches like that I really enjoy wearing. And I'm getting pretty close to that state right now, which has become problematic. Oh, Longines, nothing wrong with Longines. My equation of time Longines, I like that watch. That's every now and then the a watch company will make a special one. The Longines equation of time watch was made for 150th anniversary they had back in 1989. And boy, I tell you, the watch that thing is really just a good old, you know, time only watch, let alone the equation of time and declination of the earth and sunrise, sunset. That's really a nifty watch, I think. Plus the fact that if you got one used and you contact the Longines company, they'll send you the PDF file with all of the documentation for it. So very, very happy with that. We've got a nasty postal strike here. Mail to Canada now bounces before it even reaches the country. Oh, man. Well, I'm a big Canadian fan. I like Canada and I like Canadians. So sorry about your postal workers, though. Yeah, what we did, Van Cruel, we got something we wanted by a top watchmaker, and we just thought, well, let's just get the best of everything, and I think we did. We did the second on the second watch we run into more issues because not of what we did, but other things going on, and we have learned a great deal on our third watch that I'm very, very hopeful for. It looks like it's going along well. It's we have a brand new movement in it. Very hopeful for that one, and then the one after that too. So we've got, we're moving right along. It just, God, I wish we didn't have some of the extra expensive. The second watch has just been neat watch, but my God, what we've been through on that thing. Ugh. Mark, I really like the idea of having a problem of having too many watches. Yeah, I know. It just sounds, it sounds so pretentious. I mean, I work at being pretentious, but sometimes when I get there, I don't like it. You're right, though, Mark. It does sound sort of like, yeah, I, but yeah, I think it's important for us to like what we're doing rather than sort of like, I guess the difference between a watch collector and a hoarder. I think hoarding is when you have a whole bunch of watches you never use and you never will use, and that's what I've been trying to cut down to the point where I just have ones I really like. But then you hit a certain point where all of the ones you have you really like. It's sort of dumb. And pretentious. Okay, what else is in the news? Anything exciting happen in the world of watchmaking? Bernard Letter won the award for chronometer. Okay, so he has this watch. This is in the Grand Prix d'Horlogerie de Genève, and I was talking to another watchmaker, and he said, you know, what Bernhardt did is that he has the same watch, and he simply took it, had it, had it take it to three different uh, testing to three different observatories to test it for him. I was like, well, that's not a bad idea. But he didn't have it done by the Horological Society of New York, and that's the one that counts. Truman, semantics, but we call ourselves collectors, while normal people would. Yeah, that's probably right. Unfortunately for me, I don't know any normal people. Seems that I don't think there are all kinds of hobbies that people have. It's just like, my God, what are they doing that for? And then I look at my own hobby and say, yeah, it makes more sense. Yeah, I think you're probably right. We're hoarders. Collectors is a polite term for hoarding. Um, there's uh this is I for some reason I don't think I can have too many loops. I've got about 4 or 5 loops now, and if I see a loop I like, I'll get it. This was not this one, but the Horological Society of New York had a loop, and I had to have that loop. Well, it's just like any other one. It's simply it says Horological Society of New York, and then I had this was a globe, and inside of it there's an agonor. I don't know what you'd call it, but inside. And so I wasn't sure what to do with it, but it fits like right inside my loop like a cup, so I keep it there. So I need a loop quick. I just had watch bracelets delivered, and I went back to hear your answers. Yes, it's extra rewarding to reach the conclusion of a project after overcoming rough. Yeah, this is one. Brian is still trying to get the second hand on his watch. I had on this last one, I got super lucky, put the old second hand in without a problem. And then I lost the minute hand. It went whoop into the whatever the black hole of watch parts is, and it's gone for good now. Yeah, okay. Thank you, Michael. I feel better now. All of mine are working. ARY loops are good. Work with spectacles. Yeah, I have two different ones that work with my spectacles. One I had to wait over a year for. I got it, and it's really funny. I'm left-handed and I'm left just about everything. So I decided I must be left-eyed too. And so I wanted to get a special one for my left eye, and I did. It's really weird. Got a left-eyed one, but I had to wait for it to deliver it on that. My $100 watch bill is now up to 150 because of those missing second hands. Yeah, I had to get a whole. I had to get a whole set of hands. I couldn't, but I didn't. I'm leaving my second hand on there and just replacing the minute and hour hands. And then I got a gold plated uh, case for it. That'll be fun. It'll be who does the gold plating? Uh, Constant, Frederick Constant. His are gold plated. Yeah, they're loop, different kind. Anyway, guys, I just noticed my 30 minutes is up, and I'm gonna have to scoop. But I just thought this was sort of an interesting thing that we could take a look at. But now after our discussion, I'm all excited about going back and finishing up all of these half finished watch projects I've been working on. Anyway, guys, have a great rest of your weekend and take care.